Reprogram Your Brain. Dr. Joe Dispenza. This video book is a summary of the original work. Before continuing with listening to the video book, we ask you to support us by subscribing to the channel and activating the notification bell. Stay with us until the end of the video and let us know what you think. And if you want to find summaries of any books, write it in the comments. Thank you.
Thoughts and Destiny. Dr. Joe Dispenza's Revolutionary Theories, The Trap of the Morning Routine. Most people start their day not with the freshness of a new beginning, but with the weight of their worries, begins the renowned neuroscientist Dr. Joe Dispenza. Awakening filled with thoughts that draw in the intricate knots of problems, evoking with painful precision fragments of a past laden with challenges. The human brain, according to the expert's eloquent analogy, acts like a repository full of old recordings, ceaselessly replays the same melodies saturated with problems, incessantly weaving worn mental patterns and negative associations. Thus, as the first morning thoughts materialize, the past is relived so vividly that it almost becomes present. We're trapped in a loop of experiences that, though part of a bygone time, retain a tangible and conditioning power over our current state. These painful memories are like boxes, enclosing intense emotions. Summoning them means opening a box full of unpleasant sensations, such as anxiety gripping the stomach, tension stiffening the muscles, frustration clouding the mind, helplessness paralyzing, and anger inflaming the soul. They are fragments of an emotional puzzle that seem to intrude into our present reality, undermining hard-built well-being. When those memories surface, it's as if the past takes over, engulfing you in sudden unhappiness, bringing forth the pain, emphasizes the expert. It's as if, in the blink of an eye, the emotional storm sweeps away the recently achieved tranquility. Hence, our mental and emotional state upon waking presents itself as a sort of adhesive between the past and the present, crafting a mood laden with emotional baggage. It's a weight that heavily quiets our consciousness, like a chain holding us back from fully living in the present. The image painted by Dr. Dispenza is vivid and powerful. If in the morning your entire being is anchored in the past, inevitably it will be your past that determines your future, a perspective where one finds themselves prisoners of an eternal continuum between the past and the present, hindering any personal evolution. With these words, Dr.
The cumulative effect of negative emotions on personality. Negative emotions are like waters that, if left to flow freely, tend to form whirlpools that feed on themselves if not consciously confronted. An event from yesterday ignited anger within you. Today, upon waking, that memory assaults you again, and the anger resurfaces. The author illuminates with a tangible example. These repetitive cycles, day after day, week after week, end up eroding our mood. And it's not just a temporary problem, it has repercussions on the very essence of our personality in the long run. If this continues for a week, others will perceive you as a grumpy person. If it persists, soon anger becomes an integral part of you, and you'll be labeled as someone chronically engulfed in rage. This is how the thoughts we habitually harbor shape our identity, directing the course of our existence on predefined tracks of negativity. Your thoughts are the threads with which you weave destiny. If you keep intertwining the past in your thoughts, you'll keep painting the same palette of unhappiness, perhaps without even realizing it. It's a journey through reflecting on how managing thoughts and emotions isn't just a momentary exercise, but a task that will mold our being in the long term. A profound analysis that urges us to look within ourselves.
The morning routine is a mental program. The picture painted by the neurologist portrays the common start of the day for most people. A frenzy of checking phone messages, reading news and emails with a divided and distracted mind, a frantic attempt to stay connected to the world, followed by initiating an automatic sequence of actions. We wear ourselves like automatons, mechanically consume breakfast, and head to the workplace in autopilot mode. It's a spectacle that replicates itself, identical and precise day after day. A routine necessary to orient ourselves, but one that can slowly morph into a mental prison, a labyrinth that's hard to escape. This routine works like a computer program, and now you've surrendered your free will to this program. You're no longer directing your scene. It's the autopilot of your subconscious, the expert warns clearly. This scenario, painted by the expert, presents a vivid portrait of how, unknowingly, many of us fall into the abyss of routine, becoming prisoners of a predetermined script. We're like puppets, letting our subconscious take the reins, losing sight of awareness and control over our daily lives. Thus emerges the importance of looking beyond this automatic mode. It's an invitation to regain control, to take the helm of our daily actions. The dichotomy between conscious and subconscious mind. Dr. Dispenza, with his revolutionary theories, invites us to explore our mind divided into two components. On one side, a vigilant consciousness holding merely 5% of cognitive functions. On the other, an intricate web of automatic subconscious patterns guiding 95% of our decisions, perceptions, and emotions. This vast subconscious territory is shaped by crystallized habits, as if it were a predefined program operating automatically, executing tasks for which it's been programmed. This is why, even when consciously affirming a desire for change, the immensely powerful and influential subconscious tends to sabotage change, fiercely clinging to its comfort zone. It's an epic struggle, an uneven confrontation akin to a slender and delicate boy clashing with a mighty Olympic powerlifter. The subconscious autopilot isn't prone to relinquishing control easily. It clings to the past with the firmness of an anchor, desperately seeking stability. These words paint a vivid picture, highlighting the internal conflict we face when trying to transform our lives. It's a clash between the conscious determination to change and the unwavering resistance of the subconscious, rooted in its established habits. It's a reminder of the
essential role of meditation. To rewrite the code of those deeply rooted mental patterns, there's a key: meditation. It's a practice that offers the possibility to slow down the frenzy of thoughts, to quiet that constant inner chatter, and to access the fundamental operating system of the mind. Only in this state can we introduce new constructive inputs capable of reconfiguring neural circuits established over time. Dr. Dispenza emphasizes the issue of those who adopt a passive attitude, waiting for a crisis, trauma, or a terrible medical diagnosis to be the only stimulus for change. Instead, we should learn to move ahead, to anticipate the flow of suffering rather than merely enduring it. He clarifies this with a powerful metaphor. The process of learning and change can happen both in a state of pain and suffering, and in a state of joy and inspiration. Why wait for the worst to evolve? It's an invitation to take control of change, to recognize that transformation can arise from both pain and happiness, that we are capable of learning and growing regardless of circumstances. It's a call to embrace meditation not just as a refugee in difficult times, but as a tool for constant personal transformation, a means to actively shape our destiny.
The psychological dependence on negative mental patterns. Much of human unhappiness stems from a sort of involuntary dependency, an obsessive tendency to emphasize the darkest aspects of reality while ignoring the bright nuances that compose it. The overwhelming majority of people spend 70% of their lives in survival mode, imprisoned by thoughts of potential danger. They live constantly in a state of chronic stress, perpetually awaiting the worst-case scenario, writes Dr. Dispenza astutely. It's a conditioned reflex deeply etched in the human soul. We tend to obsessively select negative experiences from the infinite possibilities presented to us, feeding on anxiety, tension, and restlessness. But this self-fulfilling prophecy, this vicious cycle of grim projections, can be interrupted. It's possible to break this chain, provided we understand how our brains solidify destructive patterns, making them surprisingly familiar. It's a journey through awareness, an opportunity to look beyond the darkness that sometimes seems to overshadow our view of the world. It's an invitation to tune into the subtle shades of positivity, to recognize and embrace the bright possibilities hidden behind every corner. It's the path to freedom from the mental imprisonment of catastrophic predictions, towards the realization
the hidden dynamics perpetuating suffering. Every time you mentally recall a negative event, you trigger the same chemical cascade in the brain and body, as if that unpleasant moment were happening again, here and now, Dr. Dispenza asserts firmly. The tiny impulses generated by the constant repetition of certain negative thoughts are interpreted by our system as tangible signals, prompting a series of biochemical reactions that further fuel discomfort. Dr. Dispenza explains that in extreme situations, the subconscious can become accustomed to certain negative emotions, creating a sort of biochemical dependence on these feelings, even if there's a fervent desire for peace and happiness rationally. It's as if it's akin to hardcore smokers who, despite wanting to break free from nicotine addiction, still grapple with brain circuits accustomed to the habit. The neuroscientist eloquently puts it, it's as if the body is saying, "We've shared years of unhappiness due to cigarettes. Why change now? We prefer the safety of the smoking addiction. It's what we know best." It's an internal resistance that needs to be understood and overcome. These words paint a powerful and tangible picture of the intricate relationship between mind and body. They reveal how, even if consciously desiring change, our habits and subconscious can vigorously resist, maintaining biochemical ties with discomfort that, despite everything, seems
going beyond the bounds of our mental map. The path of change requires a courageous quantum leap, a bold move that pushes us to leave the reassuring but confined psychological comfort zone where bad habits have taken root. As Dr. Dispenza astutely observes, diving into the unknown is like plunging into a powerful river with multiple currents. What does this metaphor conceal? Essentially, that our habitual self, anchored to limiting certainties, must be abandoned to allow for true transformation. However, the subconscious staunchly resists because it fears the unknown. It clings to old mental banks because that turbulent river leading to change appears, by instinct, as a threat to its own survival. But it's crucial to understand, accept, and eventually overcome this ancestral fear of the new and the different. As the neurologist reminds us, the unknown is the perfect place to chart the map of your future. Leaving behind the old self is the only path toward a new direction. These words paint an intense and tangible picture of the internal conflict often faced during the transformation journey. They reveal the struggle between the security of entrenched habits and the courage required to embrace the unknown, the new. It's an invitation to recognize that, although the
Designing the reality we desire. By slowing down the frenetic pace of automatic thoughts, we can finally consciously take control of our minds, deciding which seeds to plant in the garden of our consciousness to make the desired future flourish. According to Dr. Dispenza, the practice of meditative visualization stands out as a powerful tool to recalibrate neural pathways towards brighter destinies. The simple act of closing your eyes, letting go, and vividly picturing yourself in your mind, living what you wish to create, love, health, prosperity, is the most effective way to attract these realities into your life. You are programming new cognitive pathways, creating a map of the reality you intend to build. In this state of expanded consciousness, immerse yourself fully in the image of your ideal future. The most challenging aspect of this mind training, as the expert defines it, lies in guiding the body, not just the mind, toward the sensations that should accompany our new goals. Because for what we visualize to manifest, it's essential to already perceive it as a cellular-level reality. You must start feeling now the emotions you would feel if you were already there, if your desire were already fully realized. Immerse yourself fully in the mental state of your ideal future. Live it here and now. If it remains just a distant thought, the body won't recognize it as authentic and won't respond accordingly. These words paint a picture of deep connection between mind and body, emphasizing the importance of not only visualizing the desired future, but also feeling it resonate in our cells. It's an invitation to fully immerse oneself in the experience of our ideal future, to live that dream as a tangible reality from now on, because only in this way can we attract and manifest our higher vision in everyday life.
The concrete benefits of adopting the quantum physics perspective. The proactive approach to change emerges from a new scientific framework. Quantum physics, a paradigm that overturns the ancient conception of individuals passively shaped by the environment, or an unchangeable destiny, according to the words of Dr. Dispenza. In the quantum framework of reality, the moment you begin to perceive and feel yourself concretely as you wish to be, for example, happy, fulfilled, prosperous, that potential future you visualized in your creative imagination progressively becomes more tangible, eventually manifesting in your life. We are not helpless victims of a predetermined fate. Our inner states, if carefully cultivated, have a decisive influence on what we experience externally. This is the foundation strengthened by quantum physics. These words paint a fascinating portrait of the interconnection between our internal perception and external reality. They explore the concept that our vision and feeling of ourselves in a desired future not only shape our reality, but progressively become an integral part of it. It's an invitation to recognize the power of our interiority in shaping our external experience, to understand that we are active co-creators of our reality in a universe that responds to the vibrations of our inner states.
The deceptions of uncritical identification with the flow of thoughts. However, to consciously exercise this creative potential, we must first unveil some common deceptions of the mind. All too often today, many people find themselves as passive victims of negative mental patterns inherited from the past, highlights the neuroscientist. This phenomenon in modern psychology is identified as cognitive fusion. We completely immerse ourselves in our thoughts, considering them as objective reality, without questioning their validity. On the contrary, as the expert emphasizes, the fact that a certain thought generates automatically does not necessarily make it true or useful. It is crucial to learn to detach ourselves from the stream of our thoughts, observing their flow without being overwhelmed by them. If we fail to do so, if we do not develop this critical sense, we will continue to repeat the same dysfunctional patterns, pursued by autopilot. A limiting thought generates the same self-destructive choices, which in turn lead to the same behavior, which recreates the same problematic situations, and these situations bring back the same negative emotions. These words paint a vivid picture of the human tendency to identify so closely with our thoughts that we confuse them with reality. They reveal the importance of developing a critical attitude towards our thoughts, allowing us to observe them with detachment and discernment rather than being enslaved by them. It's an invitation to become aware of our ability to change the course of our thoughts, to change our reality, thus freeing ourselves from the trap of negative mental patterns that often limit.
Becoming aware of our inner maps. The antidote to this vicious circle is awareness. The focal point of this neuroscientist's revolutionary thinking lies in recognizing the extraordinary creative power of the human mind. We are the architects of our lives, not passive spectators of destiny. However, as long as limiting mental patterns inherited from the past persist, this extraordinary ability remains inhibited, like a seed that doesn't receive enough light to sprout. The solution lies in gaining a new awareness of these inner mechanisms. By observing the flow of our thoughts without identifying with them, we become able to recognize dysfunctional patterns. Thus, instead of passively enduring them, we can consciously intervene to interrupt them and gradually replace them with more useful and constructive input. Meditative practices, such as creative visualization, allow us to paint and internalize new mental maps imbued with magnetic potential. By living them with deep conviction, these inner landscapes take shape in our concrete reality. In conclusion, the fundamental message is an invitation to take the reins of our existence, not to surrender control to an inner autopilot conditioned by the past or external forces. I am my present. I am the one shaping my future. These words paint a vivid picture of inner empowerment, highlighting the power of awareness in shaping our reality. They explore the ability to recognize and transform old mental patterns, offering a perspective of freedom and responsibility in creating one's existence. It is an invitation to become conscious architects of our lives, rather than passive spectators of circumstances. Thank you for listening to this audiobook. We ask you to support us by subscribing to the channel, by clicking on the bell, so you will receive notifications for every new audiobook we publish. Leave us a comment about the audiobook you just listened to, or suggest the title of a book you would like to find summarized and available in the channel. Until next time.